family and friends, we gather in the sanctuary to remember a dear member of our circles in all the places where we met and convened and played and ate, laughed and cried. Is a place where Bobby Deutser, so dear to all of us, was met and enjoyed. And so this place holds us together, as it often has, perhaps some would say too often, to remember the tears that we shed as we express gratitude for the life that was given. Our tradition speaks of two kinds of tears, tears of fruit and tears of smoke. The tears of fruit are the ones that we cry as we remember sweet times. We laugh and cry at the same time. And tears of smoke sting our eyes because we remember what now is gone. And we would love to have even one more moment, certainly another day, another week with our dear Bobby. But such is life, and so God has ordained it. But we also have each other in many ways to remember. And that's our purpose today. And so as we prepare for the hour that we'll share, let me first invite you to be sure that your cell phones are on silent. Right on cue. And as you take care of that, we'll invite Cantor Fibush to share with us a psalm of consolation.
Esainai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz lamot raglecha ayanu Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha ayad yeminecha, Yom HaShemesh lo yakecha, ve'areach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzetelcha uvoecha me'ata
From Psalm 16. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my soul exult and my heart rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful one see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. Death has taken our dearest Bobby Deutser, and we grieve in a world that has been darkened around us. In our silence, there is sadness, and in our tears, there is loneliness. When we feel lost in our sorrow, may we always find the presence of loving family and dearest friends. God, hear us this day and be with us. For Bobby's love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path, which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us so much joy, so much happiness, and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and so much more, we give our thanks to God. The psalmist asked, "What is the source of my help?" And the psalmist answered, for himself and for us, "I lift up my eyes to the mountains. My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming, now and forever." There's a beautiful poem written by a poet named Zelda. Zelda wrote, "Each man has a name. Each man has a name given by God and given by his parents. Each man has a name given by his stature and his smile, and given by what he wears. Each man has a name given by the mountains and given by his walls. Each man has a name given by the stars and given by his neighbors. Each man has a name given by his sins and given by his longing. Each man has a name given by his enemies and given by his love. Each man has a name given by his celebrations and given by his work. Each man has a name given by the seasons and given by his blindness. Each man has a name given by the sea and given by his death." It's been said that it is hard to sing of oneness when our world is not complete. And that's how we feel today, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and nothing but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us now must become alone. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and our words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We honor Bobby this day when we live our lives most fully, even in the shadow of our loss. And so as we begin to ask the question, where was he successful? How did he live his best days? We learn from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He wrote, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded." In every measure, our dear Bobby knew success, and we were treated to all of it. Let's continue to enjoy song and then our memories.
Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini balemot lachein samach libi vayagel kivodi af bisari shkon lavetach ki lo ta'azov nafshi lish'ol lo titen chasidcha lirat shachat todieni orachayim orachayim sovasimachot et panecha neimot bimincha netzach shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini balemot.
Rabbi Alvin Fine wrote the words, "Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage." We know these words are true and they're filled with wisdom. They're also words that reflect the life of Bobby Deutser, dear husband, father, grandfather, brother, and friend to so many. The journey of Bobby's life began 85 years ago. It was a journey like every life. It had its twists and turns, its straightaways, and its long runs. It gave him time to learn and grow, and at times to find meaning from stage to stage. In his youth, Bobby was just beginning to harness the energy that would burn brightly in him all his life. At home with his brother Jerry, Bobby could be a rascal, wrestling with Jerry and creating mischief together. It settled ultimately into a partnership between brothers and business partners, too. They worked hard and under some difficult circumstances. Royal Homes became their venture in an area of the city that tested their skills and their mettle. But they prevailed because their work was about more than making a buck. Their motto was to build the best home for people who deserved what everybody wanted for their families. They built quality homes for a good price. As Bobby grew, he came to love life's treasures. He loved cars. He loved classics in his life. One of his favorites was a powder blue Mercury. On a fortunate day outside San Jacinto High School, he eyed a pretty lady who joined him in his car for a ride home. With a record player in the glove box, can you imagine? They drove down the road listening to the Pajama Game over and over as it skipped on every jump. It was the beginning of a love affair that did more than just last. It endured, it deepened, and it flourished. The love between Bobby and Friedel was unique in its adoring nature and its sincere affection. He kissed her on her head. He held her hand in bed. They danced through life and rarely spent a moment apart. In Friedel's words, he was the most unselfish, the most giving, the kindest, the handsomest, the most wonderful man, and forgive me, the best lover. There, I said it. And you don't have to. The list is extensive, and it's all true. A similar list of superlatives can be written by his children and grandchildren, and none of them would be exaggerations. They'll share their personal words shortly, but I'll begin by saying that Bobby understood his duty to family. It came from his parents, and from a deep sense of responsibility to prepare his children for the world they would enter as adults. He loved them unconditionally. He taught them to make their own choices and to celebrate the outcome, whether it earned them an A or a D, as long as they believed that it was their best work. He listened openly. He modeled how to live large and live well, and with generosity of spirit and a good heart. He demonstrated fun and laughter that created stories and memories, so the fun and laughter would never be forgotten. And as they grew, he became even more of what they needed. He was their counselor and supporter, and the reassurance they needed that he was always in their corner. Torah commands us to honor thy father and mother. For Bobby's children, they didn't need to be commanded or even reminded. They only needed to know he was there for them, and he was. Bobby's grandchildren will share their words too, but look no farther than the Deutser grandchildren for tears that flow today out of enormous gratitude for their adoring Grandpa Bobby. Bobby had a way with kids that drew them close. It wasn't just the piles of Hanukkah presents stacked just right for each one of them, with a little extra on top after a quick run to the Galleria for yet another perfectly chosen gift. It wasn't just the unconditional forgiveness for mistakes they made or the perfect joy they shared with him. It was all of that, combined with a place he created for them in his home and in his heart. To look at Bobby, as you can see on the front cover of the program, you'd see maybe a James Bond 007 figure, or a handsome, debonair man who could enter a room and greet everyone at every table. He loved to be remembered that way, but he didn't need to be someone else to be at his best. He just needed to be Bobby. And we needed him to be Bobby too. But the truth is that he was dressed well. His suits, his ties, his shoes and belts, his pocket squares and accessories were parts of many collectibles he kept perfectly sorted in an amazing closet. I had a tour of that closet. I found my way out. His preference to look his best was no doubt a simple choice because he had Friedel at his side. Together, they were a glimmering and shining couple. They entered a room with glamour and love and style. They were the couple at the top of the wedding cake who never looked down while they walked and danced and played over years of friendship and true love. As Bobby's family grew, he warmly welcomed his children's partners who became his own. When his grandchildren came home with partners, he made sure it was all or nothing. Brad explained to his father that Joe asked for Ashley's hand in marriage, and Bobby quickly said, no. He can't just ask for her hand. He has to ask for the whole person. That's Bobby. He threw himself into everything. Everything he touched was enriched with his vision for what it could be. It was true at home, in his garden outside, which he meticulously designed and planted, and for all the fun he created for others. He had a knack, a golden touch, a way with people that made him a friend to all. When a man gets on in years, he reflects. Bobby persisted for as long as he was able, but without failing to appreciate the moments he lived in each day. He never complained. Others called with reports of their own ailments, but Bobby, without fail, would ask, "How are you?" with an emphasis on you. I know you heard it because I did too. In a visit to his home where he rested in bed, I couldn't get past his preference to know how I was doing. It was a privilege and a joy to be his rabbi, but I must admit that most of the stories he told me, I couldn't repeat from the pulpit. His last weeks and months were not easy, but they were not without excellent care and support. His final days were surrounded by family and lots of love. When he took his last breath, it was not just the end of pain and discomfort. It was also and must always be remembered as the end of an amazing journey, a growing from stage to stage. After all, we learn that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, a sacred pilgrimage from birth to death to life everlasting. Bobby Deutser, an extraordinary man, a faithful Jew, and a friend to all, will be remembered not only for what he said and did, but mostly for how he made us feel. We retrieve from death what cannot be taken away. The feelings Bobby created in us will always be his greatest gifts to us. They are always ours. Zichrono livracha, may his memory be for a blessing and a source of strength to us now and always. Amen. There are many ways to remember Bobby, but there's nothing more precious than members of his family and their memories that they wish to share with us today. First, I'd like to call on his grandchildren to come together: Carly, Abby, Ashley, and Bella, Andrew, Charlie, and Teddy. Please come forward.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew, and standing beside me are two of my cousins, Charlie and Teddy, and together we are Grandpa Bobby's grandsons. As Rabbi Lyon was talking about, our grandfather had an amazing closet, which didn't have anything a centimeter out of place, and every detail was made to look like a store on Saville Row. Anyone who knew our grandfather knew he was the ultimate gentleman. He demonstrated to us what it meant to be a Deutser man. Most people think they know what a macho man is: muscles, cars, women. Grandpa Bobby had all three. He had muscles, but he never owned a pair of sneakers. He worked out on construction sites and in the garden, hour after hour. He had cars, but they were never flashy. He restored the classics, caring about the craftsmanship and art in each piece. And yes, he had a woman in life, our grandmother, Honey, whom he adored, sang show tunes to, and protected no matter what. He also had an incredible sense of humor. As Rabbi Lyon started to talk about, I started to give Rabbi Lyon a couple examples of things I could say up here, and Rabbi Lyon's remarks were, "I will unbar mitzvah you if you say these." But I will say this story of why us three are going first. When my grandmother passed a couple months ago, I went to go take a couple minutes with him because he couldn't come. And I told him that me and my sister and two cousins were speaking at the funeral. And without thinking, he looked at me and goes, "Well, what have you prepared for mine?" And I said, "Grandpa Bobby, you're still living. I don't really want to do that right now." And he goes, "Trust me, it'll be a lot easier for you to do right now than when I die. I'll even critique it for you." And I said, "You might be right, but what are you going to do? You sadly won't be with us." And he gave me a look that I'll never forget, where he just looked me in the eyes and said, "I'll haunt you forever." And that's why we're here, because that's someone I don't really want to test fate with. So that's why we're going first, to make sure he's happy.
Grandpa Bobby was and will forever be my greatest role model. He was everything: a grandfather, dad, friend, and most importantly, what a man could be. He was the most elegant, smart, genuine man I've ever met, and I'm so lucky to be able to call him my grandpa. I remember during his final months, I would visit him, and he would never, ever complain. He was bone thin, exhausted, and fighting for his life, but yet every time I would see him, he would always ask me, "How is your arm?" and say to me things like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you." It didn't matter how exhausted he was. He always would make sure to ask me how I was doing and if I was okay. That is the man my Grandpa Bobby was and will always be. I don't think I will ever meet anyone who is more selfless, hardworking, intellectual, and genuine than Robert Deutser.
That is our grandfather. We each had our own experiences and relationships with him. For me, he changed the way I looked at the world. I was always fascinated by what he did, how he did it, and all the things he collected. He had countless collections: cars, watches, pipes, pens, inkwells, money clips, ties, pocket squares, plants, deodorant sticks, and most importantly, his Playboys. You could say he was prepared for anything, but it was his financial mind that was most fascinating to me. What grandparent gives a grandson a pressure washer to start his own company and then charges them for it? That was my grandpa. In my earliest memories, he would always guide me to feed his koi fish and help with his garden. He loved nature in his own way. Grandpa Bobby, you were one of a kind, and I aspire to be like you every day. You are one of my favorite people in the whole world. I am so lucky I got to be your grandson, and I am who I am because of you. I will forever love you, Grandpa.
We are all who we are because of you, in fact. I'm not just Andrew. You pretty much called me anything and everything but Andrew for my entire life. Andy boy, the one time in ICU when you called me George and scared everyone, but we get it. But the most often one he called me was Murgatroyd, or Murg for short. I never understood it. No one in the family ever understood it. I don't even know where he came up with it. He just started calling me it, and it stuck. And our relationship stuck at a different level. It was never about what we called each other. It was about how we felt about each other. I felt his love in every way imaginable, and he felt mine. Grandpa Bobby, we will all make you proud because like you and our dads, we are Deutser men. And every time we said goodbye, Grandpa Bobby said, "Be good, my boy." And I responded, "You too." It was our final conversation last Thursday, and I'll take it with me everywhere. Be good, my Grandpa Bobby. I promise I'll always be good for you too.
He is the man we want to be like, and he will forever be our greatest role model. We love you, Grandpa Bobby. You can rest now. You did your job.
You, Grandpa, set the bar so high for how to live, how to love, and how to treat others. How do we explain what it means to be Grandpa's granddaughters? It's not just that we were fortunate, it's that we were loved in a way that changed us into the women we are today.
Okay. The way you loved honey was all of our first lesson in devotion. That kind of love shows up once in a lifetime, and we had front row seats to quite the show. The hand-holding, the toe-touching, the jokes, the perfect song for every occasion, and the steadfast partnership. You both showed us what love looks like in action, and then you, Grandpa, loved our parents, and then us, just as fully, fiercely, and without question.
To be a little girl loved by Grandpa was unlike anything in the world. We could do no wrong in your eyes, and that feeling of being seen, cherished, and celebrated is a treasure we carry every single day. Thank you for loving us and really seeing us for who we all are.
One of the greatest gifts you gave us, beyond the many presents, because you really did spoil us, was the gift of family itself. Sunday dinners, laughing with each other until we cried, over-the-top Hanukkah celebrations with beautifully wrapped piles of presents you hand-picked from the Galleria. The best sleepovers complete with a mountain of eggs you cooked for us the next morning. You taught us that family comes first, always. And you made it clear that no matter what happened in the world, we belong to each other and you belong to us. We're forever thankful.
Grandpa Bobby never did anything halfway. He lived with intention and put his full heart into his garden, his home, his clothes, his cooking, and his sense of humor. There was elegance and care in all of it. From you, we learned elegance doesn't mean being distant. It means being thoughtful, generous, and genuine. He turned ordinary moments into memories that felt grand and every single day into a holiday.
We are so lucky, and we've truly known that our whole entire lives. To be loved so big, to feel so cherished, to truly have hit the jackpot by having you as our grandpa, it's a blessing beyond words. He gave us all the royal treatment, and we grew up thinking that was just normal, because with Grandpa, it was. Although honey is the queen, we are the princesses, and he would never let us forget that.
You taught us to work hard, to pay attention to the details, to stand tall, and to carry ourselves with grace. You taught us to love in the biggest way possible, bold, constant, and without reservation. You taught us to laugh, to savor good food, and to celebrate life. Now it's our honor to carry your legacy forward. We promise to do our best to do everything with our full hearts, just like you. to put family before everything, to laugh as hard as we possibly can every day, to give everything our all because Deutzers never quit, to always be the one to ask, how are you doing? To tell jokes that we can't repeat on the bima, to plant flowers and to watch them bloom, to be so proud to be Jewish, to feed the fish and to pet them on the head, to make bananas Foster on a weekday just because, to stand up a little bit straighter, to make every day a holiday, to iron our clothes, and to be a little bit more organized. But somehow, all four of us have Honey's tendencies, so maybe we'll ask for a bigger closet instead, because you did teach us that that's what it means to be loved.
Grandpa, you left some very big loafers for us to fill, and they're all lined up immaculately, but we'll spend our whole lives trying to fill them.
And for that bar you set so high, good luck to any man who tries to love a Deutser girl. Grandpa made sure that we all know we deserve the moon and 3 closets.
So with that, we'll say, roses are red, violets are blue, and Grandpa, we will always, always love you. We love you a bushel and a peck and the biggest hug around the neck.
Your grandfather would be so proud and so grateful. And now I'd like to call on Bobby's children, Debbie and Brad and Stephen. Just make sure you're in front of the microphone.
My dad. When my dad passed away, I've been getting the most loving calls, texts, and emails. None of them were to tell me a funny story, but rather all conveyed a much deeper message. Your dad was a true mogul in the community, a giant, the OG of Meyerland, a legend, and ultimately what a loss to all of us. I want to take the time to thank you all for being here, not only today, but simply for, but simply for the years of true love and friendship that was so dear to him. He was the ultimate relationship guy, and I cannot wait to unpack all the stories with all of you. Each of you had your own relationships with my dad, so I thought I'd reflect to my own relationship with him. I was born in the early 70s. When I was very young, I had what we commonly call today learning disabilities and dyslexia. But it was just the beginning, and schools just didn't know yet what it was or how to cater to it. My father, too, had the same issues, but he experienced it in the 1950s when most kids would just be put in special ed. School wasn't going to come easy for me, and he knew it. Lucky for me, he had his own design curriculum for giving me the tools to ultimately become confident, well-grounded, and rounded. This all was packaged with a serious dose of School of Hard Knocks. All of this was unbeknownst to me. As early as I can remember, we spent our weeknights and weekends washing the cars, doing yard work, gardening, and always working on projects around the house. I would hand him the tools and watch how he made the repairs or built things. We would then take a nap while watching old movies like The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Cool Hand Luke, or The African Queen. As I got a little bit older, he would take me to the office where I had a little desk that mimicked his. I'd eat Lipton noodle soup and drew on the job plans, walked the sites with him, and started to see construction at a much larger scale. I loved being with him and wanted to be just like him. He gave me a broom and a pan, and I swept and cleaned up all the apartments all weekends long, and ultimately headed up, as he called it, the head of sanitation crew. It felt so manly to me, and I loved it. Later, he put me with all the different crews each summer. I could learn hands-on the trades and the business. They were amazing times because I was just thrown out there without any worry about the potential dangers, risks, or outcomes. Just figure it out, he said. Get dirty, work hard, and do it. Of course, everything was paid to me in cash. I became a real hoarder of money, and he often had to borrow from me for family pizza nights. I would loan him the money, but with a stiff interest. He would always pay back happily and promptly. I was such a putz. My dad always took me seriously. After my bar mitzvah, I wanted to invest the money that I received and put it in the stock market. He set up a meeting with his stockbrokers and began endless conversations about how money works and how to start long-term investing at 13. I used to come up with all kinds of ideas for inventions. He would schedule meetings with patent lawyers. I remember missing school and getting dressed up in a suit and tie and going to Tony's to pitch my ideas. He proudly looked on while I awkwardly presented. They were usually very short discussions, and his lawyer friends would enjoy a nice, free, expensive lunch. But I will never forget how supported I felt by him. That's really all a boy needs. As I got older, things got way more complicated. I found myself getting into all kind of wild teenage trouble. We did so much stupid shit. Sorry. And he was there for it all.
He just said just one.
Huh?
One curse word.
Oh, got it. That's all I got. Looking back, I was always afraid to tell him the situation and what I had done, not because of his reaction or consequence, but rather because he was a guy you just didn't want to disappoint. He helped me navigate through it all, and there was always lessons in it. Here's an example. When I was 16, me and some friends got a minor in possession for drinking. The morning of the court date, my dad came in to wake me up. When he came to my room, I was still in bed. He looked at me and said, "If you can't get up for your own court date, then you're going to have to figure it out on your own." And he left and went to work. I jumped out of bed and called Brad, my brother, who was in law school and absolutely hated it. He agreed to represent me. While we were in court, Brad and I started bickering about how to represent me. The judge called us to the stand to reprimand us. While he was talking to us, both my brother and I were distracted by his hand. He had this massive sixth finger that protruded out of the top of his hand and kept moving and pointing at both of us. He got so annoyed and asked what our name was. When we said Deutser, he asked if Bobby was our dad. He said yes. He smiled and said, "I love your dad. Pay, and I don't want to ever see you here again." A good family name is a lot. My dad had so many amazing qualities, but I had a few favorites. Each phase of life, I had a way of finding good people and mentors to take interest in me and help me find my way. Dad was never threatened by others loving or guiding me. He would always go out of his way to get to know them and let them know how appreciative he was for their time and efforts with me. He knew the importance of having mentors and a village. He always had a way of showcasing others and making them feel special. It's a true art, but it was authentic. After college, I traveled around and lived in different places in search of the best trout streams. My parents were attending a wedding in San Diego, and I decided to meet them and go despite not having been invited. Sitting in front of me was this gorgeous girl. Well, to make a long story short, my dad went up to her and said, "You sure are pretty, and I'd like to introduce you to my son." A few weeks later, Sarah and I were practically living together, and the rest is history. Thank you, Dad. I had the great privilege of working with my dad. For many years at the company he built, Park Lane Builders. He was simply the best, and I got to watch how he navigated business, relationships, and build the best homes in the city. I have owned and ran the company since 2007. Many of the relationships with architects, vendors, subs, and trades are still in existence today, over 30 years, and many of the folks are here today. I cannot explain the legacy of loyalty and family he left behind for me. He built in his lifetime over 3,500 homes, built and owned over 10,000 apartment units in Houston and Atlanta, built camps, schools, parks, and over 1 million square feet of retail. Despite all his success, he simply was the best dad, husband, and grandfather ever. Dad, we will miss you every day, but you prepared us well. Rest in peace. I love you.
Oh, looking around, thank you all for... Okay, Mommy. Is this better? Thank you all for being here for our family and for my beautiful father. I feel so deeply proud to be the daughter of Bobby and Friedel Deutser. Their love for each other and their family has known no bounds. God could not have chosen a more beautiful pair of parents for me and my brothers. My dad is and will always be the voice of reason in my head. He's been my rock, my greatest supporter, and my most loving fan. He has always had my back. He endlessly loved me and my girls. Steady, honorable, hardworking, funny, kind, creating beauty in every inch he could find. A fighter until the end. Handsome, stylish, debonair, grand, glamorous, a best friend, an artist, a builder, a gardener, and a gentleman. He was my favorite person. This last year has been so difficult. We cannot thank our dear caregivers and friends who've stayed by his side. Anna, you are our angel. My dad truly loved you. You brought smiles to his face and added comfort every day. I am grateful that my dad's legacy of finding beauty and love will continue through his beautiful grandchildren. He always told me, less is more. So I will say, thank you, Dad, for being mine. You are always and forever my very favorite. I promise that we will take perfect care of your queen, and I love you endlessly.
Well, I think if you know Deutzers, you know that we have a lot to say, so just a few more minutes. It's hard not to echo what Debbie has said, what my brother has said. I want to start by saying thank you. I want to thank each of you for being in my dad's life. But special thanks go out to Anna, who loved him every moment of every day. In his most challenging times, I think she showed up and gave him a kiss on the forehead, and where he wouldn't respond to anyone else, he just looked up and smiled. To Angie, who brought love and order to his selfless caregivers, and to our heart and soul, it's going to be hard. To our heart and soul, Johnny Mae Bryant, God, do we wish you were here with us today. To my sister, who cared for my dad every single day, and my brother, they both poured their heart and souls into Dad with unbelievable patience and incredible love. Thank you all. I love you both. So here's where it started for me. Brad's my boy. When my dad and mom brought me home from the hospital when I was first born, that was the message waiting for me in the apartment complex swimming pool. Only my dad would build giant letters and float them in the pool awaiting my arrival into the world. He spelled out, Brad's my boy. I was then, and I will always be. Talk about pure pride and genuine love. It is what I felt from my dad every single day of my life. It didn't matter how awkward I was or how difficult the situation. My dad was the same. He was always there, always believing, always supporting, and most of all, always loving. Dad, you did something that few parents can do. You gave us confidence in ourselves, in each other, and in our families. You taught us that loving each other was all that we need. You told us that money will come and go, fame will come and go, but kindness and love and family, that will prevail. Look at what you created, us, this Deutser family, your 3 kids, your daughters and son-in-law, and your grandchildren. We are each wildly different, but with the same Deutser heart, spirit, creativity, work ethic, and value system. You taught us how to love and be loved. Is there anything more important in this world? There are so many stories and memories from as far back as I can remember, but for today, a simple thank you is what I want to share. Dad, thank you for loving me when it was hard. Thank you for teaching me to outwork everyone. Thank you for showing what integrity is and what it means to always do right, for showing me how to treat people, even those I never met before, for teaching me that there are no endings, only possibilities and solutions. Thank you for always listening and refusing to give me answers, knowing there would be days just like today. Thank you for the unbridled creativity you and Mom instilled in us and how we experience the world. Thank you for creating all my report covers. That Hammurabi one in 6th grade, remember it, Mom? That was awesome, and one of my few A's.
Miss Cooney.
Miss Cooney, ma'am. Thank you for getting me on the plane. Thank you for getting on the plane with me when I was nervous about moving to London, and then calmly asking everyone in the row of seats with me to move so that, quote, my boy is comfortable. That was my dad. Thank you for breaking barriers throughout your life. As Rabbi started, you were the first person to have a record player in his car playing 45s for my mom and whomever else. You were also the first person to bring Ray Charles to Houston. Thank you for teaching me how to play hooky in high school and secretly flying me for a father and son day in New Orleans. Thank you for asking Steve and Debbie and I when we were all fighting in the car and on every trip, is this the best trip we ever had? Instilling the answer you already knew. Yes, it was. Thanks for teaching me that trying your best and getting a D on a test is worthy of celebration. Only you would take the 5 of us out to Maxim's to celebrate. After all, D is for Deutser. That's what he said. Thank you for the courage, the real courage, to force me to pass my resumes out on the streets of downtown Houston day after day until I got a job. Talk about humiliating and motivating at the same time. Thank you for teaching me to be a true gentleman, one who always loves unconditionally, puts others first, especially your wife and family. And Dad, thank you for shaking the garbage bags in my room on Sunday mornings. No, it didn't work. He was trying to wake me up and get me to join my dad, Debbie, and Stephen as they raked leaves and swept dirt every single weekend. I never did it once. And as many of you know, it's not exactly my thing. But Dad, I did it yesterday for the first time. I went to the cemetery, got inside your crypt, and swept it out to make sure it was perfect, like you did for me and us every single day of our lives. I think I heard your deep belly laugh while I was doing it. Dad, thank you for showing me that family matters, that marriage matters. I love how much you love Mom and Jill and all of us, that a relationship between a father and son can be as loving and as meaningful as ours. Thank you for modeling love of a wife, of a child, of a grandchild, of a friend. Most of all, thank you for being my dad and loving me and Stephen and Debbie more than any children can be loved. My dad ended every single call with a simple, "I love you, my boy." Dad, I told you every day, I love you, and I always will. I was reminded of a quote yesterday, that death cannot kill what never dies. That is my and our forever love for you, Dad. As I conclude, I think back about all those first moments of my life when I was born. Of course, our family teasing my dad, saying, oh, that Bobby Deutser had to have the biggest and best of everything with his 10-pound son. With a Brad's my boy message floating in the apartment's pool, with his monogram pajamas that he wore almost every day saying, Brad's dad. That wasn't one day. That was every day of my life. I felt it, and so did he. It changed on Saturday. As he was in a deep sleep without his hearing aids, I shouted out at him, Dad, I love you, never imagining that he could hear me. To my surprise and the caregiver's shock, he opened his eyes, lifted his head up for the first time in days, reached out to try to kiss me. And he said, I love you, my boy. That was all I ever needed. He was all I ever wanted. I thank God every day for the gift of my dad and this incredible life and family he built. Dad, rest in peace knowing the love you stilled in us will live forever. After all, we are who we are because of you. I will always love and cherish you. Love you, my dad.
What a lucky man he was. There are many ways that all of us want to remember Bobby. Let's take a moment for silent prayer so that we can collect our own thoughts and memories and our own words and our own prayers to remember him as we invite Cantor Feibusch to sing a song for us, a song of peace.
Shalom Rav Israel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Israel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Lecho ha-shalom, ki ata hu melech adon. Lecho ha-shalom, shalom rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Ra Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam V'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol shah b'shlom necha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam, Tasim Leolam.
Following our service here in the sanctuary, all are welcome to Wolf Tumim Hall behind us for a meal of condolence. In Judaism, it is a great mitzvah, a great deed, to comfort those who mourn. We count ourselves as mourners, and so to share the stories and lift up the memories is the greatest way to keep Bobby's life and his deeds alive as we continue to choose life for ourselves. And on Friday night here at Congregation Beth Israel at 6:30 p.m. during our Sabbath service, we'll memorialize his name once more and join in reciting Kaddish then. Please rise. Rabbi Morris Adler wrote, "Those I have loved, though now beyond my view, have given form and quality to my being, and they live on unfailingly feeding my heart and mind and imagination. They led me into the wide universe I continue to inhabit, and their presence is more vital to me than their absence. What thou givest, O Lord, thou takest not away, and bounties once granted shed their radiance evermore. May the one who creates peace in the high heavens cause peace to reign upon each of us and to guide each of us in our steps into life of good health and of peace as we carry memories of Bobby Deutser with us in our hearts and in our hands. Amen." Please remain in your places for just a moment so that Cantor Feibush and I may escort the family to Wolf Tumim Hall, where we all look forward to greeting them and being together. This concludes our service.